Hi everybody, so welcome back to yet another episode on my channel, and today we're going to be talking about two devices from the same company. The company name is Arylic and they have two products sitting right in front of me. Very pretty, and if you can guess what it is, it has some Wi-Fi antenna here and Bluetooth antenna. So if you can guess what this is, stay tuned. We'll come right back and tell you exactly what these devices are.
Okay, it has Bluetooth functionality. That is all good. Casing is the same. This is the same. It looks identical. Okay, let's stop it.
So okay, on my right and your left, this device here is actually an Arylic S50 Pro Plus. It is a wireless multi-room stereo preamplifier. Right? It supports aptX streaming via Bluetooth, and it is also Wi-Fi enabled. So if you look to the back, it has a lot of connections right here. Now, if I were to run through each of the connections, this is for the power supply, and the power supply for the preamplifier comes in a very small and lightweight brick. So this is all there is to it. You plug it in, plug the other end to the wall, and it powers the device. Now, preamplifiers don't take up a lot of power, don't take up a lot of energy, so this is what will suffice. And the antennas that are being plugged in, one is a Bluetooth antenna, one is a Wi-Fi antenna, and you have a whole plethora of other connections. You have Ethernet connection, you also have a USB host connection. For the USB host connection, you can plug in a USB thumb drive with your music, and this will be able to play it. It comes with a remote control, which you can then select the volume output as well as the song selection. And you have digital inputs and outputs, so it does both coaxial as well as the optical input-output, and there's left and right input and output for stereo connections. And very interestingly, for a device of this make and this nature and this budget, it actually carries a 12-volt trigger. So the 12-volt trigger will be able to turn on an externally triggered amp when you turn this unit off. So when music comes in, it will power itself up and it will be able to power the amplifier, which will be driving your speakers. Now, the Arylic S50 Pro Plus actually comes with an app. It is a 4-stream mobile application. Well, there's no Apple Music streaming, but it does support Amazon Music. So I guess over time with software improvement, they will start increasing the level of support. And you have to take note also that Arylic does not actually require data to be collected from the app when you're using it. So for those of you who are data phobic and don't want your data to leak out to other sources, this app actually doesn't collect any of those data. And I have stated that the remote that comes with it, it is actually a very generic looking remote control. And interestingly, it's IR based, which controls both the preamp as well as this power amplifier right here. Yes, so this is a power amplifier, but more on that later. So the preamplifier also supports AirPlay as well as Spotify Connect. It does DLNA and UPnP protocols as well. Basically, most of the other things like the Amazon Music, Tidal, Diesel, Napster, TuneIn, Internet radio, it does support. In terms of streaming services, it won't be the most comprehensive, and I would say sorely missing is Apple Music. But Apple does choose who they work with. Or the other way you can go about doing is that it supports local files as well. So you can just plug in a USB drive, a USB thumb drive or a hard disk, and you'll be able to pull the songs from there to be streamed over your network. And if you so happen to have a couple of these, then you'll be able to actually set multi-room listening as well. So for those of you who are considering something like this, a much more budget form of multi-room wireless streaming, this is probably something that you want to look at. The build quality is really nice, really pretty. So if you look at how the functions, the screen work, actually it does come out very pretty. And it is very small. It's barely 5 inches across and 5 inches deep, and the height is just less than 2 inches. So a beautiful device, aluminum casing, doesn't look out of place in a very nicely set up room and on your console. Now this other device that we are looking at right here, it actually looks about the same. Now if you ask me, I think the chassis is probably the same, except that the front screen is probably not going to be displaying a whole lot of information because this is first and foremost a power amp. Now, how is this thing going to drive speakers? This is rated for 50 watts times 2 channel. So very interestingly, if you look at the power supply that comes with it, so it comes with an external power supply. They're not going to be able to fit 100 watts of power into this small dainty chassis here. So the power supply that comes with it is a 24 volt power supply, and it is rated at 4.16 amp. So if you do the simple multiplication of wattage equals to current multiplied by voltage, you are looking at close to 100 watts of power. So being able to supply 100 watts of power, this adapter that comes with the unit, not a problem. The only issue is that this 50 watts is rated for 4 ohms speaker. So I was using it to drive the ceiling speakers. They are Yamaha 8-inch woofers, and it had a little bit of difficulties at volumes higher than the halfway mark, because those speakers were rated for 8 ohms. So for 8 ohms, it won't be able to put out the same amount of power. If I could give an estimate, it's probably in the range of 20-25 watts per channel if you are running 8 ohm speaker. So don't think you are going to be able to drive your floor standards here. The speaker connection, if you look at the back, is actually using these strange proprietary connector. So they are not banana plugs. You do actually have to screw them in, screw the 4 wires in. So you won't be able to use high gauge wires. Screw it and plug it in, and that's all you can do. Now, it also has an optical input. It has a coaxial digital input as well. It will also take a standard RCA stereo input. Now, this is also able to accept a USB drive where you can put your songs and you will still be able to play, and you will be able to be connected to the Ethernet cable if you do not use Wi-Fi or Bluetooth to stream your music to this power amplifier here. So this power amplifier is actually a lot more flexible than the preamplifier. Of course, the preamplifier, you can choose to use a beefier amplifier to run your big speakers if you need to. Whereas for this amplifier here, it does not have output, so you cannot use this as a preamp. It is an amp and it stops there. So as usual, I will leave the links in the video description down below so that you can take a look at these amps on the website and buy them if you need to. So if you have any questions on this pair of preamplifier and amplifier, do shoot out the questions in the comments section below and I will try my best to answer you. Again, this won't be the forefront in technology. This won't be the best products out there for wireless streaming, but I'm just trying to bring as many options as there is on the market to you, my audience. If you have the budget, of course, you can find something better, but these are much more budget-friendly alternatives to all forms of multi-room, multi-zone wireless streaming for music. And not only that, a lot of companies nowadays, they are foregoing your analog connections, and these, they do have analog connections. So if your TV is in need for a simple stereo output just to power bigger speakers for better sound, well, then these are your options. So stay safe and I'll see you in my next video.